Welcome to Learn Sword and Typing with Vikas sir. Monthly magazine, November 2021, exercise number 3 and 4, continuously dictation 840 words, 100 to 120 words per minute. So be ready, start. For nearly 200 years now, Indians have sailed to distant shores in search of employment and trade. Many the forefathers of some of you settled where they worked. The conditions in the early days of migration were neither easy nor happy, but they worked hard and diligently. Some of them displayed their inherent entrepreneurship and established themselves in businesses. Early migrants went to Canada, America, and China, and wherever there was British colonial presence. Over the years, the profile of migrants has changed. We still provide skilled labor to the Gulf states and to other areas in the Middle East, but now a more important segment comprises of professionals, teachers, scientists, computer engineers and programmers, doctors, managers, bankers, and even gurus who are being acclaimed in areas of top management and creative thought. Similarly, in trade and industry, many businessmen of Indian origin have developed entrepreneurial skills which their host countries are finding valuable to their economies. We recognize and applaud these luminaries on their success. I am particularly happy that some of those who have distinguished themselves in this regard are in our midst today. In the last 50 years, Indians have developed certain competitive advantages, included a large technical and scientific manpower base, fairly well developed in infrastructure, a large network of banks, a well-established capital market, and a good educational system. India has always had a substantial private sector active in all areas of the economy. A vibrant part of Indian initiative is manifested in the small-scale sector. This comprises thousands of small industrial units scattered around the country. The Indian corporate sector is large and diversified with a mix of ownership in public, private and cooperative sectors and small, medium and large sized enterprises. Our legal system is fair and just, and we have the advantage of being a part of the English speaking world. These factors make India a good destination. We are all aware of the recent crises which have affected the facing difficulties. At the same time, we may note that fact our country remained by and large unaffected by these economic disturbances. This speaks well of the resilience our economy has developed over the years. Despite being a part of the globalization process, our fundamentals remained strong and helped us to stay on course and prevented any major macroeconomic imbalances. More significantly, a sum of about 12 billion US dollars has come in each of the last 2 fiscal years as direct remittance from Indians abroad. I need hardly emphasize how useful a role these sources have been playing in our economic development efforts. In the last 7 to 8 months since my government took office, we have taken several initiatives aimed at revitalizing economic growth, promoting strong infrastructure development, and bringing about an information technology revolution within the country. Several of these measures are already under implementation scope. In certain other cases, legislative bills will need to receive parliamentary approval next month. The direction, however, is clear. Economic reforms are here to stay, and if anything, the process is being accelerated. We all appreciate the crucial importance of infrastructure in our development process. Towards this end, we have taken a number of decisions. One, plan outlay for the power sector has been significantly stepped up this year. Two, scope of automatic approval for foreign direct investment in power has been liberalized by placing foreign equity participation up